Perfect. Okay, yeah, we should. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to, yeah. Welcome to ID's graduation celebration. My name is Cherie Jones. I am the Director of Student Success here at ID, and we are here to celebrate the hard work of all of our graduates and to come together and show them our support and encouragement and just have a good time. Yes. They will be receiving their master's and PhD degrees officially tomorrow, but today is just the pre-party before the actual show tomorrow. During this event, we will hear remarks from our dean, alum, and we have two distinguished student speakers, and then we will move up to our end of year show. Before we get started, I want to take a moment to acknowledge our phenomenal admin staff who came together to help make this event happen for our students. So can our staff just raise their hands and wave and give them a round of applause? Whether it was making signs, moving furniture, it was great. A special thank you to Leslie Balser, who is our Associate Director of Operations. She is the nucleus, making sure this event runs smoothly without a hitch as she's running around right now. So can we give her a round of applause too for all that she does? Thank you so much, Leslie, for all that you do. Okay, so without further ado, we'll jump right in. First up is our Dean, Anijo Matthew, and we'll proceed with the program.
Good evening, everybody. Okay, let's do that again. Good evening, everybody. Okay. Welcome to the 84th graduation ceremony of the Institute of Design at Illinois Tech. My name is Anijo Matthew, and I'm the Dean of the Institute. As you know, the official university ceremony is tomorrow, but we always try to do something for our graduates at their home here at the Institute of Design. This is our way of celebrating not just the achievements of our graduates, but also for our parents and spouses and friends and family who gave up so much of their time to the students. It's a way to peek into what they've been up to in the last few years. Today, I wish to share two moments with you that greatly influenced me over the last few months. The first was at Chicago Humanities event, featuring Ezra Klein, a New York Times journalist, and Derek Thompson, a staff writer at The Atlantic. If you're a regular podcast listener like me, you'll recognize those names. During the panel, Klein said something profound. When asked to respond how we might counter all the despair that we see around us, he said, "The opposite of despair is not hope. It is curiosity." I want you to think about this for a second. I'm sure many of us feel a sense of hopelessness, as though a heavy object has been placed on our hearts. It could be because of the changes around us. It could be because the world seems more complicated than ever before. And some of you, like me, may wake up every day thinking, I hope things will get better today. But I think it's a wrong question, wrong way to approach this. Instead, we must ask, what am I doing about it? What actions have I taken today to change the situation, ever slightly? Is that a... Okay, let's make sure it's not a fire alarm. Okay. Okay, so the question we must ask is not, I hope things will get better today, but rather, what am I doing about it? Hope, hope means waiting for something to happen to you automatically. Curiosity means being optimistic, asking why things are the way they are and what we can do about it. When we are curious, we see the world like it's clay, and we can mold it into the shape that we want it in. When you believe in yourself and your ideas, you don't wait, you act. The second movement that I want to talk about is from a film called Conclave. Has anyone seen this? In this year, when we have the selection of Pope Leo XIV, the film has been significant. It's a great movie. I highly recommend you watch it. In the film, the protagonist, Cardinal Lawrence, played by the phenomenal Ralph Fiennes, says, "Certainty is the great enemy of unity. Certainty is the deadly enemy of tolerance. Our faith is a living thing precisely because it walks hand in hand with doubt. If there was only certainty and no doubt, there would be no mystery, and therefore no need for faith." This is not a talk about religion or faith or Catholicism or the Pope. Instead, I want you to focus on the word certainty. Think about what it means. Certainty removes mystery. It assumes a world where everything is known. It is possible that humankind will know everything one day, but that day is not today. It is not going to happen in our lifetime. Certainty means that you know the answer before you ask the question. Our world is a complex system, and our job as designers is to study, understand, visualize, and interpret it in ways others cannot. To do that, we must be curious. Every time we learn something new about this system, we open hundreds of new and exciting questions. Therefore, a good designer is curious, yes, confident, yes, but never certain. A good designer never walks into a room and says, "Look, I know the answer and I know exactly what to do, just trust me." Instead, a good designer always says, "I don't know the answer, but that's okay. I know ways to get to an answer. Let's work together to figure this out." Tomorrow, the graduates, you will exit an arena with a degree in a hand into a world which feels a little out of whack. Yet you will make this work. You will thrive. What you got from your time at ID gives you the tools and power to make this work. In closing, here are 3 things to think about as you come out at the end of your ID journey. Don't be afraid to say, "I don't know." The world is filled with people who pretend to have certainty. They think it's better because it makes them look smart. Today's problems are too complex for anyone to know the answer. Let go of certainty. Approach the world with wonder. Second, be curious. Step up, look around, ask questions, figure out what's missing. Your curiosity will light up pathways and futures. It'll enable you to shape the world into the form that works for you rather than the shape it is in. In an age of AI, your ability to ask questions will differentiate you from everybody else. And finally, prototype everything. Prototype, as you know, is my favorite word. It means you don't look at the past, but instead, you're always building a new future. Sure, you'll fail. So what? If the price of an optimistic future is a few missteps and a few failures, isn't it worth it? At this time, I want the ID students to do something for me. Take a breath in. Now reflect on everything you have learned in these halls. All the connections you made, all the late nights you put in, all the arguments you had, every time you received a tough critique from a peer or from Tomoko. Every time a prototype failed a minute before the final presentation. My students know what that means. I want you to remember these moments. These are the moments that will define you. You've been trained to look at the world with a sense of curiosity. You've been trained to learn from the world, build on existing systems, and create new systems. Your training gives you special superpower to conceive, visualize, and prototype futures that no one else can see or imagine. As you step out, I hope you will use this superpower to your advantage. Thank you. At this time, I wish to introduce our alumni speaker. Ronald Clark is an alum of ID from 2000, when we still had a Bachelor of Science at ID. He is currently a partner and vice president of strategic design at BCGX, Boston Consultancy's digital build arm. Ron is also the North American lead for BCGX design chapter, which comprises both experience design and strategic design. Ron's work focuses on Fortune 100 clients, but as he puts it, mostly Fortune 5 clients. He has over 20 years of experience helping organizations envision and build new products and services. Prior to BCGX, Ron held design leadership roles at Doblin, Sony, and BMW Design Works. Please welcome Ron onto the stage.
Good evening, everyone. Great. So I want to start my remarks with a somewhat provocative question. So to the 2025 graduates, how many of you are nervous about the job market right now? Raise your hands. Appreciate the transparency. Thank you for sharing. I graduated ID a long time ago, and I'm nervous as well. To be honest, I've never felt as weird about the state of the design industry as I do right now. I'm embarrassed to say that while I'm here to inspire you about your futures and tell you that everything is up and to the right, we can't ignore the big elephant in the market right now, and that's that the design industry is in a particularly funny place. Studios that we admired have been acquired, some have disappeared, innovation budgets are shrinking, and the role within corporations is evolving. But despite all of that, I'm hopeful. And beyond that, actually, I'm more than hopeful. This moment that we're in, it reminds me of something ancient, something regenerative, something that I consider to be deeply designed. This moment reminds me of a forest that I once walked through, a sequoia forest. A few years ago, I took my family to Three Rivers in California, and we went to the Sequoia National Forest. And if you've ever been here, you know that this place is absolutely majestic. These trees are, some of them are 3,000 years old, and they're as tall as skyscrapers. There's a picture of, there's a picture of my kid for scale, so you get a sense of scale. But here's the part about the forest that they don't tell you right away or that you learn about later, and that sequoias cannot grow or even reproduce without fire. Their pine cones are sealed shut, and it takes extreme heat, like a wildfire, for them to crack open so that the seeds can grow. The fire clears the forest floor, it burns away the overgrowth, and it gives new seeds light, space, and a chance to take root. Here's a picture from, that's the seed, but here's a picture from the KPN fire that happened a few years after we visited the Sequoia forest. When we look at this scorched earth, our first thought is destruction, but for the Sequoia, it's simply a beginning. And when I think about where design is today, I see a similar kind of clearing. Right now, safe paths imagined are gone, but it's not the end of the story. All of you sitting here today are the seeds. You've been cracked open by disruption, but what's important is that you are not here to rebuild the old forest. You are here to grow something better, stronger, more inclusive, and more resilient. The message that I want to leave with you here today is that design is a regenerative practice. Like a forest after a wildfire, it grows stronger when it grows back differently. And this regeneration itself, it's not linear. It loops. I've seen this in my own career, and I'll see it in all of you. My personal first loop was as an undergraduate student flunking out of a prestigious engineering school, coming home lost, frustrated, and hopeless. I came to eventually meet a gentleman by the name of Nate Thomas. Nate Thomas was, the late Nate Thomas, he was a legendary educator here at IIT, and he introduced me to the Institute of Design. Taking my first week of classes in the Institute of Design with Patty Carroll, Dale Fonstrom, Craig Vogel, I realized literally from the first day of classes that I was in heaven, that I had found my true calling in design. I'll humor you, that's one of my crits. Very old pictures, you can tell me looking like shy of 15, but long time ago. But thus, here is my first loop, which is, again, this notion of burn, clear, seed, and grow. After finishing ID came my next loop. My earliest career experience was at the visionary firm Doblin, specifically, though, when it was in the incarnation of Doblin, Keeley, Malin, and Stamos. This distinction is important because at the time, it finally clicked for me that if you combine the best in design thinking with the best in business consulting, you would have an unbeatable innovation offer to clients. Doblin did really bold work. This idea combined with my ID training around systems thinking, tackling large typical problems, and storytelling through design briefs, it set a standard for me of what best-in-class innovation consulting could look like. At Doblin, my quote-unquote seeding was set, and afterwards I grew through different stints at eLab, in the Sony Design Group, and at BMW Design Works. My next burn cycle, if you will, came for me personally when I saw legacy industries struggling to grapple with digital disruption and digital innovation. And for me, for my practice, I needed to get to quote-unquote a new space. After Design Works, I got a message on LinkedIn. I got a call from a gentleman named Kevin Bethune, and he asked me if I was interested in joining a new type of innovation startup that was part of the Boston Consulting Group. I asked him what was the thesis around the practice, like what do they want to do? And he told me that they were looking to combine the best in design thinking with the best in business consulting to deliver amazing value to clients as they build new ventures. So in my mind, once again, it all clicked. Here, the premise I deeply believed in that I had learned at Doblin was regenerating itself and coming right back to my doorstep, thus my second loop. Except in this loop, this process was driven by digital transformation, and the output wasn't physical products, but instead new ventures. Here, the basic DNA of my forest regenerated, but it was different and more challenging. For me, this regenerative loop had come full circle, albeit 10 years later. While at BCGX, I've been able to help Fortune 500 companies launch new businesses. I've led multi-million-dollar programs with multidisciplinary teams of designers, engineers, and business consultants. But most importantly, I've had the opportunity to influence the innovation methodology and bring other like-minded folks to the conversation to grow our practice. And I can say with pride that I've hired many people from this program. The whole time, however, ID's tenets of human-centered design, thinking in systems, pushing methodology, and creating frameworks to empower non-designers has carried me throughout my entire experience. I've seen the design model evolve, I've seen it rebuild better, but what's constant isn't the title. I've had a different title for every design role that I've had throughout my career. But the way design works, as we all know, is by listening, by shaping, imagining new futures in the gaps of the old futures. This next revision or this next regenerative cycle is already happening, and it won't take 10 years. As we all know in the room, in just 1.5, 2 years, artificial intelligence has created seismic disruptions and it's creating another clearing for design. All of you are graduating from one of the best design programs in the world. At ID, all of you have been trained to carefully look at the needs of people, their behaviors, their motivations, and the tools they use in order to create breakthrough innovations. These skills are the foundational nutrients, the seeds, if you will, to regrow your current forest. Your job is to apply these skills in new ways. The next IDO, the next continuum, the next IA collaborative is going to come from one of you in this room. Or you're going to develop an entirely new way to define a design model. My ask of you is to take your ID superpowers and be bold and regenerate the design industry. And I think you need 3 things to do it. 3 is the magic number today. First, you need to build your forest. Community is your greatest infrastructure. Stay close to your peers. Build new practice communities. You are each other's accelerators. I can't stress enough how much my network through ID, literally undergrad, has carried me throughout my entire career. Through twists, through turns, through different roles, different promotions. Half of it has always been my ID network. Number 2, I suggest please build your eminence. Write, share, lead out loud. If the world doesn't hear from designers, it hears from old systems. There are so many platforms today for you all to grow your eminence. Make your voice and your POV heard. Please share all the amazing work that you've done in this program. And lastly, continue to grow your toolkit. Design as a regenerative practice also means that design has a constant evolving methodology. From your work here at the Institute of Design, you are all well practiced in new ways of innovating. There are many companies still trying to innovate, but still not getting the process right. They're just at a different scale in this market today. There are many companies hungry for the fresh thinking and the innovation processes that all of you can provide. By doing these 3 things, you plant the seeds, but most importantly, you control what comes next. But Ron, you say, in conclusion, sequoias take 100 years to grow. I wasn't going to skip that detail in my analogy, but what I think is important here is that technology itself is the multiplier. Your work will bear fruit much faster than you think. You will grow something better, you'll grow something different, you will build new systems and new types of engagements. Design is not just what we make, it's how we work, who we include, and what we value. You will be the ones to build the next model for how AI and designers collaborate. You will be the ones to redefine how community input shapes public design. You will be the ones to design a new way for people to learn, heal, or govern themselves. You are arriving at a turning point with your graduation. The past decade for design burned bright, it burned fast, but now it's your turn to rebuild with intention and to redefine how design is done. You are the founders and leaders of something better. Remember, fire doesn't end the story, fire starts the story. You, class of 2025, must start the regeneration. I want to thank the Institute of Design and Anijo for the privilege to speak before you all today. This school has changed my life in so many ways. I want to congratulate the class of 2025. I hope to collaborate with many of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Okay, next we'll hear from our doctoral candidate, graduate, Azra Sungu. All right, okay.
Good evening, everyone. Being a PhD student, I've celebrated the graduation of multiple generations here in this room. After all of these years of sharing the joy of other classes, it feels nice to have my own graduation. It's a profound blessing to have shared this journey with so many amazing souls who have shaped both my research, my understanding of myself, and what design can truly be. Almost 6 years ago, I toured this building for the first time with Carlos Teixeira as my guide. I was over the clouds and instantly felt welcome. As we came to the end of the tour, he asked me what I'd like to do after my PhD. What was my vision? I said I wanted to do social impact-oriented design work, which is what I was doing before joining ID. Be somewhat of a design nomad, live in different countries, and chase design in the pursuit of good. With the most sincere glimmer of hope, he said he hoped that I would have the same excitement by the time I graduate. Well, I don't. The excitement with which I stepped through the doors of ID was the one of a 26 years old, you can guess my age now, an excitement that hadn't been tested with the weight of the world yet. It hadn't been broken and stitched back together. It was unbound by the constraints of bills to pay, bureaucracies to tackle, and debts to settle. It hadn't witnessed the administrative changes. It hadn't been through the pandemic. It hadn't witnessed the atrocities happening to our planet and its people every day. And more importantly, it was fueled by my ego, by the idea that I, as the playful creator and the willful entrepreneur, was going to bring change to the world. I no longer have that excitement. I know now that the resistance to change is not only a matter of complexity, but concerns the deeper mindsets that shape how we coexist. I know now that masses aren't coming to build the futures that we portray in our posters. The values we describe, sustainability, equity, justice, care, that guide the worlds we imagine are hardly universal. Unfortunately, in the real world, they are weighed against different values, the values that we hardly mention in those same posters: efficiency, profit, convenience, or even tradition. So I feel this barrier between the worlds we describe in our posters and the worlds we live in. And I'm not just talking about the difficulty of materializing what we imagine, but more so the mental barrier that those worlds belong in the posters while we get on with our lives in the real world. We cultivate this amazing space of possibility with our precious how might we's and inspiring what ifs. And if you're feeling crazy enough to do a PhD, you'll probably start with something along the lines of, how can design insert confusing idea? Don't get me wrong, I love a good question, and I, in fact, do get hired to ask good questions. But who's going to make it? Who's going to answer those calls that we make? I feel today that our world needs more than possibilities. We can keep suggesting change, like tossing coins in a wishing well and hoping someone will make it reality. Or we go beyond suggesting what could be done and start giving the answers. And if over a decade of design school has taught me anything, it's that the best way to shove an idea is to make it. A better world isn't going to sprout in slide decks and elaborate proposals. Its blueprint won't be drawn in boardrooms, but it is being made day after day in our communities, our streets, and our neighborhoods. It's made by the elder women who run our community free store, by advocates who take justice to courtrooms, by artists who keep the city's soul alive in the murals, by farmers who actually care for the life-giving soil. People I've been honored to have been inspired and guided by. And these worlds need designers too, perhaps even more than the tech incubators and innovation labs. And that's the beauty of design. It's not confined to 9-to-5 shifts or job descriptions. If you ever woke up in the middle of the night, scribbling down an idea and hoping to God that it will still make sense in the morning, if you've been the designated heating system supervisor by your parents, as I define myself, or found yourself redesigning everyday objects just to make life a little bit better, you'll know what I'm talking about. So I'm asking us all, how can we, as designers, be in the service of those worlds? How can our practice enhance their collective creativity, wisdom, and joy? And how can we be accountable to the worlds that we dream of and we preach in our posters? I know it's hard. The world pulls us in many directions: the weight of student loans, the need to find a job and survive, the pressure to prove our worth through more conventional metrics. These forces are real. The excitement I had 6 years ago, it couldn't withstand these forces. So I'm glad I have a different one now. One that's grounded in radical love and honesty. Not the naive and selfish excitement of believing I can change the world, driven by ego, but the mature excitement of knowing that together, in small ways and large, through persistence and community, change happens. So when Carlos asked me about my vision 6 years ago, I wasn't wrong about wanting to create social impact. I just didn't understand the path. It's not about being a design nomad who swoops in to solve problems. It's about being an ally who commits to the messy, ongoing work of building better worlds wherever we find ourselves. As we embark on this new chapter, I hope we can carry this understanding with us. And I hope we can continue finding the wisdom and inspiration in one another when the world tests our excitement. I can't wait to see the worlds that will bring to life. Thank you to the faculty who guided us, the staff who supported us, our families who believed in us, and to each other for sharing this journey. The real design work begins now. Thank you.
Okay, how you doing out there? All right, we have our final student speaker, Daniela Velez, who is our Master of Design dual degree graduate.
Dean Matthew, estimated faculty, proud family and friends, and most importantly, my fellow graduates, good evening. To my dear fellow graduates, after 2 years, or even more, of intense work, a roller coaster of emotions, and long nights fueled by passion and a diverse range of memories, we made it. Today marks a significant milestone, a pivotal transition in our lives. We stand at a threshold, and that is okay, more than okay. To feel a sense of uncertainty. Many of us are pondering the future. And that is a natural part of the journey. As designers, we possess a unique toolkit to navigate ambiguity and to shape the future we envision. This is a moment to pause, to reflect, and to remember. Remember the first time we stepped into this building, perhaps a bit wide-eyed, and consider the individuals we were then. We arrived from diverse corners of the world. Carrying a multitude of questions, yet united by the understanding that this experience was not solely about who we were, but about who we were becoming. I vividly recall my first time and impression of ID, gazing at this expansive space we call the pitch. I felt a mix of intimidation, pride, and an utterly overwhelmed. The sunlight streaming through the massive windows, the echoes of conversations, and at that time, it was a bit too much. I remember thinking, I have arrived at a place where others shared my vision, my passion, my curiosity for learning, for experimenting, and for taking risks, an action to change the status quo. That initial feeling evolved into an overwhelming sense of joy. Throughout, not without its share of challenges, moments of self-doubt, unproductive tensions, and frictions that yielded invaluable lessons. And now we know we can. We can push boundaries. We can advocate for change. We can lean on one another. We can guide towards a shared vision. We have demonstrated our resilience in the face of setbacks, our ability to rise after failures, and our capacity to emerge stronger through collaboration, even in the face of different perspectives. This experience, where design intersected with diverse disciplines and a multitude of backgrounds, has broadened our perspectives and revealed the power of collective knowledge. The debates, the frenetic working sessions, the shared moments of breakthrough, these have forged bonds that I hope will last a lifetime. Yet, the most cherished aspect of these past 2 years has been getting to know each one of you. Fellow students, dedicated faculty, and supported staff. I have always treasured and will always treasure those lunchtime conversations around the big table in the kitchen, and where we share our challenges about our projects, our hopes, our fears, our dreams. Your stories, your perspectives enriched us and became the building blocks for something greater, a home away from home. We should all take immense pride in the work we have done that filled ID's walls and made them our own. Our discussions and ideas will undoubtedly resonate far beyond our time here, shaping the future of this institution. I'm confident of that. Throughout this journey, our parents, our siblings, partners, and friends, our unwavering support system may have wondered exactly what we have done for the past years. In my own words, we have been learning how to cultivate possibilities for different futures. We have become facilitators for change, masters of navigating ambiguity, complexity, and expanders of understanding how things and humans interact with each other in an ever-changing world. We have learned to unveil hidden connections, to embrace an abundance mindset. We understand that envisioning futures and possibilities comes with an immense responsibility, a responsibility to strive for a future that is just, equitable, sustainable, functional, and resilient. This space, the Institute of Design, has been our sandbox. Here, we were not just students. We were builders, we were experimenters, we were dreamers. We dug deep into problems, conducted innovative solutions, and sometimes we knocked down what we built and started all over again. Like children in a sandbox, we collaborated, shared our tools and ideas, and created things we never could have imagined on our own. Now, as we conclude this chapter, having tested our resilience and grown together, we join a long and distinguished lineage of ID designers who embodied the values of the new Bauhaus, learn through doing, relentless experimentation, and a deep-seated belief in the potential of design to serve both functionality and social purpose. I urge you all to remain hungry, to never settle for the status quo, and, as my mother always told me, to be eternal nonconformists. Stay curious about people, and their stories, and never let your spark dim. Even in the darkest of times, embrace the power of not knowing, for it is in those moments of uncertainty that we often discover the most profound knowledge. Remember Robert Forster's words, "Two roads diverge in a wood, and I took the one less traveled by, and that has made all the difference." The final thought that I want to leave you with today is this: design is what we make of it. It can encompass something as vast as the most complicated interconnected system, or it can be as intimate and personal as a teddy bear that ignited my own personal passion for design. But regardless of its scale, good design has the power to propel humanity forward. As Tomoko always reminded us, design is not for design. Design is for the world. So now, let's design for the real world. Muchas gracias.
All right. How are you all doing? Okay. All right. At this point, I'm going to ask a few people to stand up so you can all see who these people are. We'll just ask Tomoko to stand up since she's the one that everybody called. That's Tomoko. But will all the faculty please stand? So these are the people, all the faculty, full-time, adjunct, everybody who teaches at the school. Please stand. Thank you all. Will all the staff please stand? We know we did the hand raise before. I don't think everybody actually saw you. Finally, can I get all the students to stand? But before you sit down, no, don't sit down. Everybody stand, turn around, look at the people who are here today, and just give a slight nod and thank them for their contributions to your success. All right, you can sit down now. All right, at this point, we are going to conclude the official ceremony, and we are going to go up the stairs. And the way we'll do this is we will have the graduates go up first, and then everybody else follows up. And then at the top of the stairs, we'll have Professor Martin Thaler and Tomoko Ichikawa, and the students who designed the end of the year show lead us through the experience and tell us what the show is about. And after the show, we are all going to go out to the right, to my right, to the room called Steelcase, where we have food. And at the back of Steelcase is the community kitchen that was mentioned a few minutes ago, where we have drinks, which is, I think, more important. So thank you all for coming. Thanks to our alumni speaker, Ron. Thanks to our student speakers, Azra and Daniela. Thanks to all of you guys for making this an amazing and special place. Thanks to all of you for joining us today and for giving us your loved ones for the last few years. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
Graduates, before you all go up, stop by this table, pick up your gift, and then you can head on up. That's it.